Video of what looks to be a triangle UFO sitting stationary over a rural area in Ontario, Canada.
It's just hovering in place. What is that? Look at the lights all around it.
I made sure to stabilize the footage so we can get a better look at the activity going on in the center of the craft. The footage is around 10 years old, so before the use of drones really took off. The uploader's description states, "Don't got much to say about this video other than when my dad originally sent it to me. I felt like it had to be a UFO, and there's nothing else that seems to explain it. Canada is notorious for sightings, and I myself have seen a few. This was taken way before drones were being used regularly, and I'd say the video is easily 10 years old." The European Space Agency captured this scene from the surface of a comet. Were some ancient or recent structures built to hide evidence of non-human material? Investigative journalist and UFO enthusiast Ross Coulthart suggested this in a recent interview.
People are going to question what I'm about to say. What if some of that is so big it can't be moved?
Is that what you're saying, Ross? Is that what you've been told?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
How big is big?
Big. So big they built a building over it. In a country outside of the United States of America.
Fighter jets from the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier encountered a UFO off the coast of San Diego. The object was recorded by military-grade radar systems traveling thousands of feet in less than a second. Multiple naval officers that witnessed the event gave their detailed report in an interview.
And that's when I learned that it was actually less than a second. It went from 28,000 feet down to the surface of the ocean, and turns out 0.78 seconds. It was unbelievable, because normally what would happen if a normal aircraft did that? First of all, it would fly apart. It wouldn't be able to withstand the G-forces, and there would be multiple sonic booms. It would be boom, 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 and this did not make any sonic booms.
28,000 feet is equivalent to 10 Burj Khalifas stacked on top of one another. Free falling at terminal velocity, this distance would take over 2 minutes. This object did it in less than 1 second.
This isn't radar clutter or...
Yeah, we were 100% positive it was not. We were all watching the actual interrogation as it was happening. It was absolutely amazing. You know, we're seeing these things up close. It's one thing to see it from a heck of a distance. In the video, you could see it. You know, you could see the way that they looked. You see the way that it moved, that it actually changed shapes. And, you know, it was just the oddest thing. And I was like, oh my God, you know, that's absolutely amazing. You know, I mean, and then, you know, seeing what it was doing, you know, it was going to, you know, over 25,000 feet and then coming down in, you know, no time, zero time at all. I mean, like, you could blink and it was already there. You know, I mean, it was so ridiculously fast. I mean, and the turns that it made and the way that they moved were, as far as I know, beyond the laws of physics.
A few hours after the incident, men in black-type personnel, presumably with top-secret clearance, seized most of the footage before erasing it and leaving.
When we actually had a helicopter come on board, and I saw just plainclothes guys come on board, you know, just normal suits, and a couple, you know, it looks like a couple of officers, and then about maybe 15-20 minutes later, I get called down to combat to sign over all of the data recordings, and they wiped CEC too.
But he knocks on the door and there's him. He's in his flight suit. There's two guys behind him in flight suits. They weren't our officers. They weren't born officers. So I had no clue who they were. I only had one side to the safe, so it was a couple minutes before the other side came back up. We open them. I start to sign them out. He says, "Don't worry about it." And we hand him the 6 bricks that were on flight, 3 of our bags, and he leaves.
In some of the biggest UFO alien news of all time that, in my opinion, didn't receive nearly enough coverage, It's been disclosed that, quote, non-human life has been recovered from crashed crafts.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Most of us were hoping for some solid video or photographic proof, or even better, some form of physical evidence to be presented at the hearing. But no such luck this time around. The U.S. Navy have disclosed that they hold over 140 recordings of UFO encounters. So if we're fortunate enough, we might get to see some at the next one. On the subject of Congress, I wanted to share a sighting from just over a year ago that I wasn't able to share at the time due to me being inactive. The video shows a sphere UFO recorded from a U.S. Navy fighter jet. Although brief, the few frames that show the object are quite clear, and the fact that it was filmed and analyzed by a team of aviation experts gives it a much deeper level of credibility.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bright, can you rerun that first image that looked like it was outside of a plane window? And if you wouldn't mind going up to the screen and tell us what we're seeing. Explain what we should be looking at in that first image.
Absolutely. What you see here is aircraft that is operating in a U.S. Navy training range that has observed spherical object in that area. And as they fly by it, they take a video. You see it looks reflective in this video, somewhat reflective, and it quickly passes by the cockpit of the aircraft.
The ODNI reported 144 UAPs between 2004 and 2021, 80% of which were recorded on multiple instruments. Last year's report also said that of those 144, 18 of them reportedly appeared to exhibit unusual flight characteristics, appear to demonstrate advanced technology, and some of them appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. That's pretty intriguing.
Great UFO footage from 2008 has been going viral once again this week. The sightings took place multiple times over the course of 2008 and 2009 in Turkey. A quote from Roger Lear, a popular ufologist and witness to the sighting, goes as follows. It's called the Kumburgaz video, which is a close-up of a craft, so close that you can see the occupants. It is 100% real, and I was there as it was filmed. Debates surrounding what the object may or may not be have raged on for over a decade. The case still remains a mystery. A very compelling UFO witness report caught my attention this month. OP describes a translucent cloaked UFO hovering over his local park whilst he and his dad looked on in awe. No photos or videos were caught, so enjoy these AI-generated renditions whilst the report is read. Now on to the report. Hey guys, long-time lurker of anything UFO related for many, many years. I've told this story to multiple close friends over the years, because I hate telling it to anyone I don't trust because I know they'll think I'm crazy. It's not an exaggeration to say this incident completely changed my life. I think about it at least once every 2 weeks. There is no logical explanation for what we saw. I'm 26 years old. My dad is 46. In 2005, we both saw, at the same time, a somewhat invisible cylinder-shaped UFO in the sky, in broad daylight on a clear, bright sunny day, making a hovering jet-like noise. It was completely stationary, and it had no visible lights, buttons, windows, doors, or anything of the sort. You could literally only make out the outline of whatever it was. In the image, the red circle is where we lived at the time. The yellow circle is where we saw the UFO, and the blue circle was my primary school. Where you see the yellow circle, that used to be a football AstroTurf field. Me and my dad would head there after school some days just to have a little kickabout. Nothing crazy. I can remember exactly where we were both stood on the pitch when we heard the jet-like hovering noise coming from above us. It was loud, not stealthy at all, loud enough to immediately draw our attention to it. I remember looking up and just freezing. The only way I've been able to describe it to my close friends is like bad cloaking CGI from an 80s movie. I've always wished I could draw or animate what I saw, just so I could show people what I meant. Anyway, we both just stood there staring at it for God knows how long. I remember asking my dad, "What is that?" And he just said, "I don't have a clue." Anytime I bring this up to my dad, we always recall the same things, the same details, everything. I was young, so I attribute that fact as to why I don't remember what happened next. But my dad is adamant that the only thing he remembers next is us banging on the door to our house, my mom answering it, and us both frantically trying to explain what happened. I try to keep myself sane by saying, well, it must have been some military experiment to see how stealthy these jets, planes, ships were. But ultimately, I guess I'll never know. A fascinating case. He continues to add further context in the comments explaining more about how the craft left the field. Quote, "I've tried explaining in other comments, but unfortunately we both can't remember. We just remember hearing it, looking up, being completely dumbfounded, and then we're both at our front door 2 minutes away, frantically knocking, trying to explain to my mom what had happened. What looks to be a classic saucer-shaped UFO appearing behind a camera crew whilst they were filming for a TV show. The object was also reported by many other people in the city. New research from the James Webb Telescope puts the age of our universe at 26.7 billion years old, almost twice as old as previously thought. The estimate was challenged when the telescope discovered ancient stars and galaxies that shouldn't exist according to our current model. I know most of you are here for the sightings. It's what interests me most too. But the truth is, it's been a slow month. Lots of fakes floating around, of course, and a few somewhat interesting recordings which I obviously shared. Fortunately, it's been a great month for UFO news, so all's not bad. I at least had something of interest to share with you guys. Let's hope for a better month this August. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.